And now I have a guest that has never been on the show.
That's right. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah,
Hello.
Justyna. Yes, and I'm so pleased to have you here. I read some of your stuff, and I was really amazed.
Thank you.
Tell our viewers a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about some of the events that you. I don't know how you do all this, but go ahead.
That's right. I wonder myself, where do I find time? But I feel like, when you do a lot of things, all of a sudden hours open up in the day, especially if you do things with passion. So a little bit about me. I am originally from Poland, now living in America 11 years, proud citizen of this country as of last year. I moved to New York City 11 years ago to pursue theater, specifically musical theater, because that was the love of my life. And
so in Poland, you were also into musical theater?
That's not musical theater. We don't have much of it there. It's mostly straight drama. So I started acting professionally when I was 15 years old. I actually have a name of the first play I was in tattooed on my neck.
What was it?
Beauty is a whisper, which means piękno jest szeptem in Polish. So I was that crazy about theater.
Beauty is a whisper.
That's right. That was the first production I've ever been in. And that's what sent me to Denmark, where I studied theater for 3 years. And I opened up my own theater company called Ethereal Teatro. We started touring around Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, producing original productions only. I am very much into experimental theater, not into commercial stuff. So I always was that person who wanted to create her own. And then,
when you create your own, do you write your own materials?
That's right, and almost like in an experimental way, if I do work with an ensemble, we actually create the spoken word and movement in the moment of rehearsal. It's a very different way of working with theater.
So it's almost improvisational?
That's right, improvisational, commedia dell'arte, cabaret, a lot of these different ways of producing theater that I learned in Commedia School in Copenhagen. So that was my first experience with it. And then me and my scene partner, David, from Sweden, created an experimental piece about Wagner piano, where I was acting as the soul of this piano, and there was something about that connection with music that told me I need to go to New York City and pursue musical theater.
Well, okay, time out here for a second. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 2. I used to also speak Danish when I lived in Denmark. I no longer do because it's a hard language.
You got to keep using it.
That's right. You got to keep using it.
Yeah.
So right now, Polish is my first language. English is my second, but I think in English. If I'm in America, if I go to Poland, I all of a sudden switch to Polish. So definitely, there's that versatile aspect of it.
I have a relative that came from Germany, and I said to him one day, "How do you think?"
Yeah,
and he says, because he speaks eloquent English, and because he came as a child, and he says, "Oh, I always think in German." So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That,
It takes a little bit of time for us people who are born in another country to start thinking in English, but what helped me is improvisation in English and writing in English. All of a sudden I started dreaming in English, and that switch happened probably after 2 years of living abroad in Denmark.
That you were able to make that flip.
That's right, made that flip, and so I moved entirely on my own to New York City at the age of 21. It was a huge,
I can't even
journey.
imagine how you'd go into another culture.
That's right.
I mean, not that the cultures are that different, but they are different.
Very, very different, honestly, like Eastern Europe and America.
Eastern Europe,
Very, very, very different. So definitely, that was very challenging. So no family here. Also from the immigration perspective, like I said, it took me 10 years to become a citizen here.
Well, most people that I talk to, it takes 10 to 12 years.
That's right. It's a very long
process.
process.
Through the process.
Very long process, but I'm really proud to have accomplished that at this point and, call myself the double citizen.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what really pressed me to continue pursuing that was the passion for theater. And I actually started acting in different musicals. And what brought me to Capital...
In New York City?
In New York City.
Off-Broadway? Broadway? What?
I would say off-Broadway. So this is where experimental aspect comes in. The moment you go off-Broadway, that's when the commercial level starts. The money people come in, investors, and they're the people who very often tell you what to do.
And then that takes away your autonomy.
Takes away, exactly. So I mostly acted, and I was a stage manager, I was a director, writer in many different nonprofit theaters in New York City, especially Medicine Theater Show, which was one of the oldest surviving theaters from the 60s that opened up with an open theater. And unfortunately, because of COVID, it closed its doors. But but that was kind of like my home. But the first production that I worked on in America was actually Helen of Troy, New York. I have met Don Rittner, who I'm pretty sure everybody, that's right, everybody knows Don. He's a very good friend of mine until today, and we still work together. And he hired me to be the co-director of Helen of Troy, New York in 2014 in Troy, New York. So I moved to Capital Region 11 years ago. I stayed here for 6 months co-directing that show with him. We had many sold out performances. We're actually planning and thinking about doing it again because Trojans love their history.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what, started the wheel spinning. Newspapers started writing about me, my collaboration with Don, and that helped me, find my footing in New York City, where I was in many different musicals, up until the point when I met a musical director who told me, you know what, you sound like Marlene Dietrich. And I was like, Marlene Dietrich, I think I heard of her, because where I grew up.
You just heard of her? Oh my God.
Yes, I have, even though
she's
that
such
was
an icon.
Yes, of course, but people my age, unless you are into the golden age, Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I grew up very close to Berlin. So whenever I went to Berlin, I would see that beautiful woman, in many advertisements, standing in a suit.
They still
That's right.
revere her.
She's still a huge icon. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look her up. And then I connected the dots, and I was in a musical where we had like 30 performances, and every day he would tell me, Justyna, you gotta check out Marlene Dietrich. There's something about you and her that I'm seeing the connection.
You're coming on my next show. We're going to talk about Marlene Dietrich. You're going to have to wait, because we're going to talk more about that.
Yes, there's definitely a lot to say about it. Yeah.
I find that Marlene Dietrich was such an icon, and not only that, but she was her own person.
That's right.
She was a feminist.
That's
she
right.
was just the person I want to be.
Exactly.
Except I don't smoke.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And you already are that person. I already feel your energy. You're a very strong woman, and that's what drew me to her.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not a person who is gonna be waiting for somebody to write a show about her. So I wrote the show and casted myself in it.
Yeah, why
and started,
not?
A non-profit company and produced it under this wing. We have co-written it with Oliver Conant, who actually acted in quite a few Hollywood movies in the 70s in America. So our collaboration, was really fruitful and brought us to performing that show in many different theater festivals on a off of Broadway level. Eventually we got that off-Broadway run on Theater Row, and
I don't know, did they bring up the picture? Can you bring up the pictures just real quick? Our next show we're going to talk more about it, but we have that great line. You sent me some great those are the ones. Okay, it's up on the screen right now.
Oh, there it is. Okay, great, perfect, beautiful. Yeah. So, the show had many different versions. Many different wonderful creatives have worked with us on it, including Malcolm Kogut, who is actually here today.
Oh, that Malcolm. Who's that guy?
Right? Just don't tell him. No,
yeah.
Do tell him. He doesn't know how great he is.
We love Malcolm.
So that's, it has been performed in Troy, New York, as well as in Glen, New York.
The Conservancy,
That's right. So it had many different versions. I haven't done it in about 3 years now, because I've been looking for a perfect female director, and I really do think that I found her. So I do feel like this year will open up a lot of doors.
Now, do you sing in that?
I do sing in it.
Can you sing a little bit of Marlene Dietrich?
Okay. I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I've plenty of. Baby,
oh yeah.
Dream a while, scheme a while, you sure to find happiness, and I guess all the things you've always pined for. That's a little bit, one of the songs. Wonderful. One of the songs. That's right.
Did you ever see Blazing Saddles?
That's kind of Blazing Saddles is kind of like a caricature of Marlene Dietrich, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But
so I tried not to
Madeline
watch it too
Kahn
much,
just played it. I mean, Marlene Dietrich would be rolling over in her grave right now.
That's right. She definitely was. I bet she really was.
But they did that. Okay, well, I'm going to have to announce who's coming up, but hang in there, because she's going to be on our next show.
Yes.
And you're going to learn more about all the things, the dance and the equine and all the healing and all the good stuff that she does. But right now, I want to tell you who's coming up on the next show. We have the Bunbury Players are coming in, Cherry Hill, historic Cherry Hill, and also the Underground Railroad. We're going to be talking about Black History Month a little bit there. And of course, Justyna will be joining us again to talk about that. I do want, and don't leave, because I want to just make a few more announcements. We also have, I just want to remind you that, first of all, Valentine's Day is coming up, and you did hear the singing Valentines, and we hope that maybe you might take an opportunity to hire them, because they do such really good work, and it's so much fun to have them come visit and to sing for you, to serenade you. And also coming up, of course, is the Lunar New Year. And the Lunar New Year is coming up, and that's, I think, the 17th of February. But it's an amazing year of the horse. It's the fire horse is the year. The screen is up there. And it's celebrated by 2 billion people around the world. So this is not just a light little holiday. It's a big holiday throughout the world. So I want to, first of all, thank you, but I'm going to go back to Justyna and talk just a bit more about it. So you've done that, and let's give them a preview of the next show that you're going to be on. You're going to be talking about equine healing. What is that?
Yes, equine assisted healing, as well as ecstatic dance. So when pandemic hit, obviously, a lot of us theater artists had our hearts broken because for a couple of years we couldn't do theater. Yeah. So yes, while I was very heartbroken, it gave me an opportunity to discover the other part of myself. Yeah. Holistic healing. So working with horses, which I actually have been riding with horses since I was 5 years old. So that was my first passion. And then I got roped into theater because I wanted to leave Poland.
Love
so I was
it, love it.
Horse is not gonna get me there. It's gotta be theater, right all the way to America. So horses, they have always had a huge impact on my heart as a child. I was, very bullied child actually, so they brought me peace and love that I couldn't find anywhere else. However, when the pandemic hit, I, decided to reconnect with them, and I started leasing horses and riding them out on trails in Connecticut State Park Preserve.
Okay, we're going to leave it right there because you got to watch the next show to find out more about this.
All right.
Yes. Thanks for watching Capital Region today. Love you guys for watching.